Good morning, it's Friday the 2nd of October, and as you can see this is the second assembly live from my house. I'm looking forward to being back next week. I've really missed being in work and I've really missed seeing you guys, so can't wait to be back. Recently a Guinness World Record has been broken. It's quite a surprising one. So the person who has reached 1 million Instagram followers in the fastest time was Jennifer Aniston, and that has recently been broken. And what's interesting about the person that broke this record is that he holds other records. His name is David Attenborough, and he also holds a record for being the longest, having the longest career as a TV presenter. He is 94 years old. And is not the usual Instagram audience or definitely content maker. So why did he do it? He has had a career, again the longest career as a natural history presenter, and he has shown the world what the natural world is like. So when I was a young person, there was only 4 channels to watch, so you didn't choose what you wanted to watch, you watched whatever was on telly. And quite often David Attenborough was on telly, and it was the kind of TV programme the whole family could just sit and watch, and you didn't need to know the backstory, you could just dip in, dip out as you wanted. The scenery and the wildlife and the images that were captured in a lot of those documentaries, even back in the day, were absolutely stunning, and that then led him to have an amazing career travelling the world and documenting the changes that are happening to this planet. So why has he taken to Instagram? What's wrong with his usual methods? Well, he has realised that what he really needs to do now is reach out to young people, and this is the message that he's given.
Hello, my name is David Attenborough, and I've been appearing on radio and television for the past 60 years. But this is my first time on Instagram. And I'm making this move and exploring this new way of communication to me because, as we all know, the world is in trouble. Continents are on fire. Glaciers are melting. Coral reefs are dying. Fish are disappearing from our oceans. The list goes on and on. But we know what to do about it. And that's why I'm tackling this new way, for me, of communication. Over the next few weeks, I'll be recording messages to explain what the problems are and how we can deal with them. Join me, or as we used to say in those early days of radio, stay tuned.
So David Attenborough is a national treasure. He is a legend across this country and known around the world as being one of the leading voices in natural history. We absolutely love him in our house, and we're lucky enough to know people that work with him and have a script signed by David Attenborough from one of his programmes about Charles Darwin and the Tree of Life. I think it's really interesting because what it says on the script, obviously it says best wishes David Attenborough, but it says there are in the world 8 different kinds of bear, nearly 200 different kinds of monkeys, 315 hummingbirds, nearly 1,000 bats, 1,500 mouse-like rodents, 9,000 ants, more than 350,000 beetles, not to mention about 250,000 kinds of flowering plants. What's amazing about that is a lot of these species are becoming extinct because of the way we are treating the world. So habitats are disappearing, the climate we know is changing, and these animals are finding that they haven't got the resources they need to live. We are changing the way we farm and the way we produce food, and it's having a huge negative impact on the animal world. The assembly I did last year on this topic I felt was a little bit bleak. So the image that I showed is this. And it says, when the last tree has been cut down, the last fish caught, the last river poisoned, only then will we realise that one cannot eat money. And this image caused quite a stir after my assembly. I had it up in my classroom and lots of people looking at it. It's quite a bleak picture, and I had lots of people looking at it and asking questions about it and really talking about what it portrays. And I think the reason I like this so much is because of a book that I read when I was a teenager, which this image seems to project to me. The book was by someone called Ben Elton, and it was called This Other Eden. It was set in the future when climate change has made the planet almost uninhabitable. And instead of doing anything about it, the people in this book, in this other universe, tried to build technology to help them to continue living. So they built little glass domes that they lived under, they filtered their air, they filtered their water, and instead of actually changing the process of habitat decline, they made their new habitats, which you might think is great, but obviously to do this you need money. So it actually ended up with two different societies, one who were living inside these wonderful little domes, keeping everything that they needed to survive, but still continuing to damage the planet on the outside, and then those without money who were living on the outside and actually having to deal with air that was unbreathable, water that was not drinkable, and how that impacted on the world. Now, I won't ruin it by telling you what the actual end of the story is, because it is a really interesting twist and it's a really interesting way of looking at the damage that we do to the planet. But this book spoke to me as a teenager and made me really interested in this topic. But I think the message I gave last year is a little bit too bleak, and I think we need to look at some of the positives, so some of the things that you guys can see as hope for the future. So, for example, research shows that since 1993, when I probably was a teenager, sat in my bedroom reading this book, 28 animals that would have been extinct, at least 28, have not. So we have saved 28 species through our conservation work. Now, what can we do to support the scientists and the conservationists out in the field? Well, we can give money, we can spread awareness, and we can share that message so people know what's happening to the planet and support them. So, positive messages. Change can happen. You are the young people, you are the future generation. You can make that change. All you need to do is you need to improve your practices and help spread the message.